Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience Week 8 spread picks previews. No more Survivor because we're all out, and we'll have a free money play from Tim at the end of the show. Geoff Fienberg is here. What's going on?
I'm great. Other than like a little rattle talking to Tim in a mic check, I'm fabulous.
Well, he got you all fired up about dipping French fries versus just dumping condiments on your hands and reaching for fries and then licking your hands. But that's how normal people do it, according to him.
I would say the most elitist thing in the world you could do is eat French fries with a fork.
I don't even think it's elitist. I think it's just pretentious.
Sure.
Before we get into all of this and break down all the games, and we'll get to CUST Corner midway through the show after the 1 o'clock games, although there's all the 1 o'clock games and basically no other games. But Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m., live from Gillette Stadium, I'm going to be on the scene breaking down the Week 8 Draftkings, Week 8 picks, Week 8 season-long ranks. People will be asking questions. It'll all be glorious. And do you know who else is going to be there?
I heard.
Tim and CUST!
Tim and CUST.
That is not my name. I'm glad I can defend myself now.
I'm a little broken-hearted because I have obligations. And I even looked at like what a plane would get me there. But I'm going to be in Pennsylvania for a wedding, so... we'll talk about this, but it's all going to come up, Tim, on Sunday. I'll leave it there.
Let me ask you this. Do we want to get into the fry thing, or do we want to put that on the shelf and save it for when we move into our new studio and do all that stuff? And by the way, people, if you're out there, you can join the running contest that I have building now. There's like 500 entries or something like that. There's going to be some cool prizes to be given away from the Pat Mayo Experience. So in the comments section this week, leave your super lock along with your Draftkings name, and then you're entered in the draw. Again, doesn't matter how many times that you've entered already. You can have 5 entries. You can have 6 entries. There's going to be multiple prizes to go around. We're going to do a draw, pull it out, but we have to move into our new studio first, and it's getting closer, people. And the mics will be all better, and it'll be so awesome.
I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, I think we should table that topic.
All I will say is that there's still time left on this poll on Twitter right now. So if you go to @thepme or @TimAnderson87, he released a poll of what would you rather? Would you rather dip your fries in condiments, or would you just splatter condiments all over your fries and then just eat them like a maniac? So it's your choice. Right now, it's 95% to 5%.
Do you know there's also people that have reached out to me personally to be like, Tim, a lot of this stuff he's given a hard time for, I actually agree with, but this was like a tipping point. Oh my God. Like, as if they needed one. This was a tipping point. He's legit crazy.
Well, yeah. I've discussed it with some other people too, and they say they agree with around like 10% of what Tim has to say. Every now and then he'll stumble into like a blind spot for someone. They're like, oh, I agree with that. This one is just off the board. Defend yourself, you maniac.
Those of you who vote for dip mean that you hate poutine or any sort of meal where French fries have gravy poured on them. Just remember that.
No, it doesn't. Those are two. Okay, first of all, is gravy even a condiment? It's like it's its own separate meal if you put it on fries. It's not. No, it's not fries. You're having a poutine, and most Americans don't know what poutine is.
So it is a condiment. We will postpone this discussion for the new place, but I have scientific, rational reasons for why pouring condiments on are better. But let's postpone it so that I can knock you out then instead of knocking you out now.
Tim just dumps condiments on his hands and then grabs fries with them. And he says it's very efficient because it just sticks to his hands. Then he can get a lick going.
That actually was a very funny thing.
You're a maniac. And
okay.
And the fact that you think that 99% of people eat fries with a fork is also just insane.
If you're not eating fries with a fork, you've made a mistake. Don't eat with your hands. You're not 7. Use utensils.
The other way that you're talking about, dumping condiments onto stuff, is what children do.
No, it's what adults do.
No, you're not an adult.
Yes, I am.
You can't claim your age as being of an adult, and then you also can't claim because of your age you're also not a millennial. One of these things they can either both be true or neither be true. Which is it?
My point from the beginning was that I reject millennial culture. That's my position.
Yeah, but you're the most millennial out of all of us. You're just a delicate little snowflake with your insane takes.
Oh, yes. Driving my unicycle to my loft apartment every day. Okay.
Okay, let's clear this out once and for all. You still have no conception of what a loft apartment is, do you?
I said, like, I can imagine the denizens are hanging there.
Do you want to know something? I lived in a loft in this city.
How much
it was
did it cost?
The most expensive place I lived in my entire life.
When I bought my condo,
I pay a mortgage that's less.
Yeah, when I pay a mortgage less right now too. When I was looking for condos, I had to, if anything had the word loft in it, I legitimately could not afford it. We couldn't look for lofts. But no, poor people are living, in lofts according to Tim, because he has no...
No, that's just Toronto real estate. Outside of the big smoke, I'm sure lofts are far more affordable.
Where else are lofts going, Tim? Are you going to move into a loft in your hometown? Because there are none.
I'm sure that there are.
No, you see, you have no fucking idea. No idea. Just like dipping fries, no idea. You have no idea about anything. This is what makes you a millennial. You just have hipster trends, and this is all you're about.
I have so many good arguments for the fries, but we will postpone them. That's what we call a tease.
All right, let's get into the recap from last week. I was 8-6-1, only picker above 500 for the week. Geoff, you were 5-9-1. That was tied with the coin. Oh, we need a coin, Paul, if you can find one. And Tim, dead last, 4-10-1. Tim, you briefly took the lead in the pick'em. Now he's back below 500. Out of all of us, the coin and I are the only two above 500, and we're a mediocre one game above 500.
I need to raise the stakes. Like, I need to be punished if this week doesn't go well somehow.
We'll shave your head on the show next week?
That will not happen.
You pile of french fries and you have to pour HP sauce on them and eat them.
Oh, a nickel! I could buy this country! We'll see how the nickel does in terms of the pick. So, heads for home and tails for away. I got my hair cut. Because I have to go to Boston, then I have to go to like 2 weddings in a row. And I told my barber not to cut my hair too short, because I have a really round face, so it doesn't really work out well. Okay, I have a toe head if my hair is cut too short. And she cut my hair too short, which I specifically asked her not to. And then my wife told me I look like Katie Lang.
Oh, yeah, I saw that tweet.
Is this what marriage is?
If she still loves you after looking like Katie Lang, that's what marriage is.
Well, weirdly enough, she loves Katie Lang. Like, she told me she might swing the other way if Katie was involved. All right, Thursday nighter, Miami at Baltimore.
We've got a poutine and Katie Lang reference already in the show.
It is heavy on Canadiana. Miami at Baltimore, +3. Do I have that written right? Is Baltimore a 3-point dog at home?
Yeah, there are, to when you wrote this down, there's...
This morning, I'm seeing some 2.5s creep up, or if you actually want to bet the 3, you're maybe taking some extra juice for the Dolphins. I'll be quick in that I feel completely mentally obligated to support Miami in this cause, even though, again, it feels like a sketchy Thursday. And I'll say this why. Because every Dolphin fan I know, I have proclaimed to them that their best quarterback on their roster, even when Ryan Tannehill was healthy, the receiver,
is Matt Moore. I always thought, and Joe Philbin, when he was fired, the baby owl, he almost made a comment like a couple weeks later, like he didn't have the autonomy to even bench Ryan Tannehill, the high draft pick, in favor of Matt Moore. But I've always felt Moore was the best quarterback in that Dolphins QB room. Even when they signed Jay Cutler, that didn't change a thing. They paid him. They obviously had to play Jay. But I'm obligated to riding my Matt Moore claim that he'll come out here and win this football game.
So Joe Philbin looks like a baby owl. I look like Katie Lang. Mike McCoy looks like Ellen DeGeneres. Tim, what do you look like? You look like one of those orcs from Lord of the Rings.
I've been told I look like a lot of things. The one I like the least is Thurman Merman from Bad Santa. That really annoys me.
I get a lot of, at least from that, like the Lord of the Rings, Sean Astin.
Okay.
And I did a thing with Gabe this week on his night cast.
Oh, his nightly? Oh, you were on it?
Yes.
They allowed you to be on it?
Well, I don't know who they is, but they who do that part of the venture allowed me to be on it. Gabe wanted to talk about the high voltage Chargers and their big matchup this week, so I happily obliged. And a lot of the comments were being like, "Why is Seth Rogen on your show?"
See, I feel like that's a step up from Sean Astin.
It's ass. I don't know. Whatever.
Here's the point. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't, and neither does the Seth Rogen thing.
Tim, are you going Miami or Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I need to address that drive-by smear against Ryan Tannehill, which is unfair.
The receiver?
He played great last year.
He did.
He's the reason that team made the playoffs last year. This team would be probably 5-2 or 6-1.
How could they have any more wins than the games they've already won, dude?
They could have beaten the Jets.
How could their record be any better? No, sorry. Because this is an insane... I'll give them all the marks that they are 4-2, and they haven't even played their best football. Like, they've clearly played bad football, and they have found a way to this.
They could have easily beaten the Jets in their first game if they had had Tannehill instead of Jay Cutler out there. However, I do agree with you. Matt Moore is better than Jay Cutler. But nevertheless, on a short week, I'll take the home team and the favorite. I'll take the Ravens and lay the 3.
In terms of injuries right now, Ben Watson may not play, Mike Wallace may not play, Jeremy Maclin may not play. Feel like that's problematic. Terrence West already out, he doesn't really matter. Do you think that the Dolphins' defensive line can get,
Didn't we?
Are they going to be good enough just to kind of pile on Flacco like Minnesota did last week? Like, every time that the Ravens have looked especially terrible has just been when Flacco is turning around, looking at his own end zone, trying to throw passes that way. Like, he just looks so out of sorts that if Miami can score 17 points in this game, they might win. But Thursday night, home,
Weird.
I did this with the Raiders last week, and it worked out.
And the line seems small in the sense that who would want to bet Baltimore, and people keep, at least your eyeballs are seeing the Dolphins win football games.
Yes.
So the line scares the crap out of me because you could argue it should be flirting with 1.5 points.
So you're definitely taking Baltimore here?
Oh, wait, I'm taking the Ravens -3, yeah.
+3.
-3. They are 3-point favorites.
Yes.
Okay, so I do have this wrong. It's Baltimore -3, not +3.
Correct.
Now, give me Miami then. I'll take Miami in the points.
I mean, Joe Flacco, to your point, with Sue and Wake, they do have the pieces to really disrupt Flacco. And like we said last week, and nothing changed. Statistically, other than Deshaun Kaiser, Joe Flacco is the worst quarterback with the minimum amount of snaps in the NFL right now.
Well,
sure, I agree with all that. It's just this point is just a contrarian play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Baltimore -3 is just not the conventional play, so I'm going to take it.
And these Thursdays are so wacky. I wouldn't touch this.
No.
I don't really want to bet it with real money.
But you will.
The only real money I think I might end up doing is...
Chris Moore over yardage?
No,
Chris Moore, fantasy sleeper.
It's taking Miami up to 10 maybe and get the weekend going.
Devontae Parker might be back too. But you mentioned Deshaun Kaiser, and he is back, and now he's in London, and he gets to play the Vikings defense, and they're 9.5-point underdogs in London, but technically they're the home team. I don't care. I'm taking Minnesota here. Minnesota has to. If Minnesota doesn't wax them in this spot, if they give up more than 7 points in this game, that's bad news for the Vikings.
I don't even care to talk about it. I'm just taking the Vikings. Even though Cleveland, they covered last week, all the power to them.
We talked about how that line seems super trappy, by the way.
Well, how no one would want to bet it. But at least this is a number where, like that... I mean, they tricked everybody when they played Houston a couple weeks ago, and it was around this, and it went off at, about 2 points shorter. I got no time for the Cleveland Browns.
Even the coin is on Minnesota. So, Tim, tell us why Cleveland's probably going to win this game.
They're not. Case Keenum versus Deshaun Kaiser is quite a matchup for the fans from London to go see.
By the way, Case Keenum, not terrible. Has been pretty good. Do you know who is terrible? Your buddy, Deshaun Kaiser.
He's a rookie who they keep jerking him around, so I don't blame him.
Yeah, just keep him on the bench because he's terrible. Kessler is way better than both of those other losers.
I think that's probably not true. Kaiser's probably clearly the best, but he just doesn't need help. And
you say he's probably clearly the best?
Well, they keep making him the starter week after week after week. I think there's a reason for that.
Kaiser's averaging 3.4 yards per attempt. Yeah, Hogan's averaging 3.7 yards per attempt. At least Kessler's averaging 7. At least he's throwing the ball down the field.
What's Wentz average?
I don't care.
I don't know. I didn't look at it. I saw those three next to each other.
I
assume it's high.
Well, Jay Gruden lamented after losing to them on Monday, how did he get to Philly? Through Cleveland.
Yeah, and then everyone's just ragging on Cleveland now because they said Wentz wasn't good. But if Wentz was on Cleveland, would Wentz be any good?
He'd be better than what they've got.
You would see if he's a top 20, 17, 15 quarterback.
I don't know. I think when you go to the Browns, you get the Browns stink and you're automatically terrible.
Okay, maybe. I agree. Like, if Jeter went to the Reds, would he be as good as Barry Larkin? Probably not. Like, I get it. I'm not calling Wentz Jeter, but I'm just saying, like, it plays a factor.
So, Tim, you're on Cleveland then?
No. We're going to lay the points to the Vikings, and we're going to tease Minnesota down to 7 as the first part of a... tease Minnesota down to 2.5, as the first leg of a 7-point teaser.
Oh, boy. That really worked out well for you. Your money line one really worked out well last week when I told you it would end on Thursday night, and it did.
Yeah, that was
Can we share that Tim told us off air? We don't know what the games on the teaser are, but he is this is the most confident.
The most free money you could have on any sort of teaser.
This is like super free money. I think you even need to make note of that on your board.
Yeah, I love this. The teaser I've cooked up for this week is my favoriteest teaser ever.
Not even the one that you won that time?
No, I like this one even more. That's how much I love this one.
All right, so round of Vikings, the coin is in agreement with us. Atlanta at the New York Jets. The Jets are 4.5-point dogs at home. Atlanta can't beat the NFC or the AFC East, man. It's a thing. And maybe after a week of just, now they were in prime time, now everyone saw them, everyone's on Sarkisian, because, after he scripts out his plays, he can't do anything and adjust afterwards. It's now come out that Tevin Coleman was a bit banged up. That's why he hasn't been getting the ball. But now, in terms of like market share, if you go and look at like who's touching the ball, the amount of targets everyone's getting, it's all basically the same as last year. It's just not working at all. So they're running fewer plays. Obviously, the defense has been a bit of a problem that, they're not generating the same sort of heat on the quarterback, forcing teams to throw. And when you're not up by 20 points at the beginning of every game like they were last year, it's not as easy to do that. But I think I'm going to lean the Jets here. I think the Jets might win this game. Tim, how does that make you feel?
I think the Jets will beat the spread, but they won't win the game. I think we lose by 3. Your point about the Falcons struggling against the AFC East is well put. That's why you can't cancel the Falcons out of being either a bye team or a playoff team in the NFC, because all their losses don't really count for any of the tiebreakers. So the Falcons are 3-0 against the NFC and are in fine shape in that sense. So this is not a game they desperately need. And I think that they'll get it. I think it'll be close, but a dome team, outdoors, back-to-back weeks on the road, back-to-back, quite a distance away from home, with a lot of stress and sort of public pressure against them. I think that the Jets get up by a touchdown or 2 and then fritter the lead away, as they do because they're poorly coached, and lose the game by 3.
I hate this game for both teams. I think it's a bad spot for both sense. The Jets could be on the verge of a complete bubble bursting because they're losing some heartbreaking games inside the division, Pat. And this here versus the Falcons, who suck, but they gotta be desperate to get off the mat. I'll say Tim is underrating how important the game is because they can't lose 4 in a row. Isn't that what it would be?
Yeah, but
the Jets, I want to lean the Jets so badly, but I do feel like, Tim, that the Jets probably lose a close game, and I hate the Jets play the Bills on Thursday night.
Okay, Bills are winning that game.
Right out of this one. I'm still going to take the Jets here.
Rounded Jets. Wow, I did not expect that. The big thing is, I watch Atlanta at the end of these games, and it didn't really matter against the Patriots, but, even against the Bills, and then even the week before that, just, they have these drives to come back and win the game, and they don't do it. They look bad. They're throwing, 3-yard passes.
Well, hold on. Here's the thing. I'll say it right now. I can't really speak to the New England game, and my psychology BA from Western needs to be ripped up because I was counting on that to make me think that Atlanta was going to rise up to win that game. But in the Bill game and the Dolphin game you referenced, the Bills game, they got first and goal at the 4.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get in. I know Sanu and Jones are out, but they got to the 4 without them. In the Dolphin game, they're at the 25, needing a field goal to tie.
But can't convert.
And throws it to Hooper.
Can't convert.
Pops off Hooper, and then a pick for the Finns. So they're moving the ball when they need to in those situations.
But they're not closing.
And then Quinn going for 4th down at midfield down 10 when they get the ball at the half. And in my head, I'm there's still an opportunity to be down a field goal going into the 4th. What are you doing, man? I can't. I don't know. I hate this game a lot, but I'll lean the Jets.
Well, I feel like the Falcons and the Bills game is kind of where those two teams are this season. That the Falcons are getting somewhat unlucky with some of these turnovers, even in that Detroit game when Ryan kept throwing like the picks off the tips and everything like that. And the Bills are just generating turnovers out of nowhere. They're like the Bears team that went to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman.
Yeah. Well, they're the Bills are the team that's been getting lucky turnovers all year.
Yeah.
And then they play Jameis, who is like just sometimes can hand them over. So it was a perfect recipe for the Bills to keep that up.
But Jameis wasn't even doing it. It was like Adam Humphries because he was Anderkirst, fumbled the ball.
Yeah, but there was a bad Jameis fumble and a bad Jameis like downfield whatever.
It didn't matter. My 3.5 super lock came through.
I was thinking about that.
Carolina at Tampa Bay and Jameis Winston -2 for Tampa Bay.
Hold on, you thought at the end that was gonna because I had Tampa plus
I thought,
3 for real
I
money,
thought,
and then those laterals, and then they get like inside the 15, and you're thinking about that that Redskin game. Tampa again.
Yeah.
I had Buffalo in the Super 7, so that was painful.
So you got Buffalo.
It was the 3.5 in the Super 7.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But for real money, I bet a 3.
When did you bet it? Because when they first opened the line, it opened at 3.5.
Sunday morning.
Yeah, it was down to 3 by then.
And your super lock was a 3.5.
Yes, and I had it in the Super 7. Carolina at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a 2-point favorite at home against Carolina and Cam. Tampa Bay just keeps getting more and more injured, man. Ooh, watch out there. Divisional game, like I don't think that Tampa Bay has much of a home field advantage.
No.
If I'm going to say anything.
No, they're the worst. I could bring up the trend, but they're the worst.
I just feel like Tampa Bay may not be good. And I don't know if Carolina's good or not.
Excuse me, they lost to a team that completed 4 passes last week.
Sure, but the Bears defense is a top 5 unit in the league. Tampa's isn't. It's one of the worst.
Carolina is one of the worst teams in the NFC, actually. You don't lose a game like that and have any claim to being a half-decent team.
They also went into New England and beat them.
This point spread is a slap in the face. Tampa's going to cover easily.
Oh, I like Tim's confidence in this. I'm going to take Carolina then. I think Cam goes bonkers in this game.
What does that mean? Does it mean he runs away from the podium when someone asks him a tough question?
No, see, it's seeping through again, Tim. You can't just lay off Cam, can you?
Well, he makes it so easy with his poor sportsmanship and his...
No one has worse sportsmanship than you, by the way. You should love Cam. Cam basically is you.
That's not true.
You guys are so similar. You both wear stupid hats.
I have a better sense of fashion than Mr. Newton.
Oh, do you?
I hate that I'm leaning Tim here, but this is another game that wouldn't shock me. But here it is when it comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And these are extended trends, but the road team is 78-47 in Buccaneers games since 2009. So they're the team to play on the road. But more specifically to what you were saying, Pat.
Tampa's at home in this game.
Yes. So here we go. Tampa, 20-44 ATS in their last 64 home games. They don't win. I don't know if they're winning. They sure as hell never cover at home.
Well, if they don't win...
But I'm picking them.
You're picking them? I'm going to say, if they don't win, they're probably not going to cover the 2.
If they win, they'll almost certainly cover. It's down to 1.5 now in most places.
The Panthers, I mean, you're talking about the Tampa injuries. The Panthers are missing a lot of key players themselves.
Kuechly looks like he's going to be back. And who's Carolina missing besides Greg Olsen? Ed Dixon might not play. No big deal there. I don't know. I just think Christian McCaffrey get going. I don't think that they're going to have an answer for Benjamin and Funches. Like, Tampa's defense is bad, man.
Bad.
It's bad.
It's horrible.
Everyone's just hurt.
And
they get no pressure on the quarterback.
Last year,
and the games that we've seen Carolina struggle in are games with good teams with good defensive lines who disrupt what's going on in the backfield. Tampa Bay's not going to be able to do that.
Last year, Tampa led the NFL in third down defense, so they're missing something big time this year.
Well, they're missing all their good players on defense, or at least the collection of good players to help them through the linebacking core in the secondary. Gerald McCoy can't do everything himself here. So you love Tampa Bay here? Is it going to be your super lock, Tim?
No, but I do like it.
I have everything with Tim, and we both suck. So
yeah, you want to be with me in the coin here, both on Carolina? Chicago at New Orleans. New Orleans is a 9-point favorite at home. This is a tough one for me because I really do like the Bears' defense. However, New Orleans, if they can jump out to even like a 7-0 lead, it's game over. It has to be game over, doesn't it? Unless there comes a point where Chicago's defense starts scoring touchdowns, and that's a really hard thing to bank on. But if you force Trubisky to pass, I don't know if he's good or not, because we haven't really seen a sample of it. But New Orleans can get to the quarterback, and that could be super problematic for him.
And it's hard to tell because Chicago, they had 2 defensive touchdowns last week?
Yep.
And I believe their other score came on the heels of a Tariq 70-yard catch, which kind of set them up right down there. So.
And that was a field goal.
So it's hard to, but this ball is rolling downhill for the Saints, and again, the statistics show that it's not just about Breeze in the. I mean, their defense is wreaking havoc. Cameron Jordan might be outside of like Bosa, the best hoss in the league.
Yeah, according to DVOA, New Orleans has the 15th best defense. If you give them the 15th best defense all year, they will be in the NFC title game. That's all they need, right?
Well,
if they can. To be fair, and their defense is really essentially equivalent to Chicago's, whereas New Orleans' offense is the third best in football and the Bears is terrible. There might not be a worse matchup in the NFC for the Bears than at the Saints. They have no chance of covering. They have no chance of winning.
Oh, I don't like this no chance.
Just as I say, he could be right. He goes like,
there's no chance. It's a guaranteed winner.
And we're going to tease the Saints down to -2 as the second leg of our teaser.
They are on
this confidence is really worrying me here. I was thinking about putting New Orleans as my super lock. No more.
He had me at this is as bad. This is on paper. This is not a pretty place for the Chicago Bears. I think the Saints get it, and I think the Saints do almost what they did to the Lions at home. Maybe not to that extent, but they ain't going to let them back in the game.
Yeah, well, I doubt that the Bears just all of a sudden just put up 40 on the board. But the big thing with the New Orleans defense, though, is their offense really bleeds into their defense well, because their defense isn't great by any means. Like, Lattimore's becoming, I wouldn't say he's a shutdown corner, but he's the best thing they've had as a DB in, 10 years. And then, since they had, Mike McKenzie, who wasn't even good, he has had dread, so people thought he was good. But their pass rush is so good that if you're playing from in front and the other team has to pass, you're now utilizing the best part of your defense every single play. So every time they get up in games, their defense looks better than it is. In games where it's going to be close, I don't know how much I actually enjoy New Orleans, but in this spot, Tim, I do think you're right. This is a really bad matchup for the Bears. But maybe they'll score 3 defensive touchdowns and it won't matter.
They're going to have to. I mean, let's script it out. We wake up Monday morning and the Bears have beaten the Saints. How does it happen? It happens because Breeze has 2 ugly turnovers or a fluke play on special teams. That seems to me the only methodological way you can sketch out a victory for the Bears.
How many offensive points are the Bears going to need? If you want to bet the Bears, how many points are you thinking they need to score here for you to get your cover?
20.
20.
Actually, or 17. The way that I would think is,
I figure New Orleans is going to score 30, right? So
28 to 31 is where I think they're going to score.
Well, I think it depends, because if the Bears actually do score 17 or 20 points, and let's say there's no defensive touchdowns involved, and the Bears put up 17 points, how do they put up 17 points?
Well, those are probably long drives.
And how do those long drives come to fruition? What plays are they running on those drives? They're taking the ball, turning around, and handing the ball to Jordan Howard, and it's almost like the Baltimore game. Hey, Jordan Howard, you're going to rush the ball 40 times in this game. We're going to eat the clock. We're going to limit the amount of possessions. If that can work, the Bears can cover this game. But that's their route to doing it besides defensive touchdowns. So if you want to buy yourself into that case, I don't. I'm going to pick New Orleans -9 here. But that's the way that Chicago covers that game. And, well, I don't think it's a high probability of happening. It's probably like a 20% chance of happening. Because Jordan Howard's very good. Maybe they can utilize Cohen. Fantasy-wise, Cohen hasn't been a factor in ages, but he could be in this game when they're losing. Damn it, Tariq Cohen's career has really gone downhill since you proclaimed him a top 10 running back.
I don't know how many running backs have passing touchdowns this season. I can name one, Tariq Cohen.
And that's good enough for you?
Yeah, he's fine. He's going to keep... Going into next year, he's going to be a great fantasy play. He's going to be a good fantasy play the rest of this year.
Oh, man, I need him to be good. Stop saying that.
Buy stock in Tariq Cohen.
Okay, if he's so good, why won't you trade
because
me
you're
for
demanding outrageous prices.
You said he's going to be great and he's a top 10 running back, yet you won't give me that value for him. But these are your words.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay 100 cents on the dollar for him.
Why not? He's great. Why wouldn't you want him?
Because I can use the picks or players that I'm going to trade for another player. I'm not going to just hand over to you something above market value.
I'm not talking about above market value. I'm talking about your value.
Yeah, but I'm not buying it my value. I'm going to buy it market value.
This is the problem. This is what you're doing to Tim is what the people in my leagues do to me when I covet Hunter Henry. And I'm like, he's the best.
Then give me something for him. No. I'll give you
I'm
give you a 15th round pick and Jermaine Kearse for him.
Well, I'll offer you what the majority thinks. He's like a borderline tight end one.
No, you want him. You
like
pay
he's
for
Kelsey.
him. Well, you better pay for him.
Well, I won't pay your highway robbery prices. Instead, I'll just wish Tariq Cohen well.
And he's also a 15th round keeper next year.
Yeah, he's great. He's going to be a
He's
great
great.
player.
He's the best. I don't want him, though, but he's the best.
I do want him.
No, you don't. You clearly don't want him.
If you're going to charge an exorbitant price for him, I will simply wish him well.
He is a top 10 running back, according to you, and he is the best keeper value of any pick that you can have in our draft. But he's worthless, according to Tim, despite being the best.
Again, no fair-minded viewer will think that that's what I've said.
I agree with Tim right now.
How? Tim won't pay any. Tim, what was your offer for him? A 7th round pick?
I believe I offered you a 2nd rounder for him.
Don't want him. He's a 15th round keeper. He's the best keeper in the league, and he's a top 10 running back.
Okay, then you know what? Then you will have to keep him because no one else will offer you anywhere close to that for him. Fine.
I don't understand why you wouldn't want to make your team better.
I have by offering you a 2nd round pick, which is above what market value says he's worth. But you choose to be avaricious.
Where do you have Tariq Cohen ranked this week, hypothetically?
I don't know, like 50th or something.
There you go.
And he says he's 10, so can't he pay it for him like he's 25?
Yeah, but I don't want Tim's terrible second. Tim's the worst team in the league. 2nd round picks in our keeper league are worthless, especially because he's going to be picking at the back end of the 2nd round. It's a worthless pick.
I've also won twice the amount of titles Patrick has in that league. But anyway.
Before we got into the keeper, Tim won 2 of the first 3 years?
It was a keeper.
Yeah, and when was the last time you made the playoffs? 8 years ago?
Last year when I lost in the finals.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You lost. That sucks. You didn't have an undefeated season like me. 16-0. No more to go. Indianapolis at Cincinnati. The Bengals are 11-point favorites at home.
Oh, God.
People are eating the Bengals chalk on Draftkings this week.
Play
Andy Dalton, play AJ Green, play Joe Mixon. Indianapolis has given up 4 more touchdowns than any team in football. They're really bad.
But this is too many points to lay with this Bengals team. I'm sorry.
I don't trust the Bengals. They
shouldn't be laying 11 into anybody.
This is insane to be asked to lay this number. Like, where on earth?
Indy's bad.
Yeah, but the Bengals aren't great either.
I had no idea.
On principle, you take the 11 points. You have to.
The Bengals broke my heart last week.
Me too.
They also broke my wallet. They couldn't even... I had them big in that game with the points, dumb enough. They couldn't even hook me. It was the last leg of a 7 or 8 game teaser that everything else hit. Everything. Like, so lucky. Like, even that... You're watching that Raven game and there's a meaningless last-second touchdown? Wasn't so meaningless. Woo!
I actually had Chris Moore on Draftkings, so it really worked out for me.
I'm just saying, they're not always so meaningless, I'll tell you. Bengals really broke my heart. It's like Vegas is begging for people to bet the Colts. Who's betting Cincy at this number?
Yeah, but who's betting the Colts ever at any number?
So then I'll take Cincy because I feel like that's got to be so contrarian. Even though
it's definitely not contrarian. People are definitely pounding the Bengals.
I'm not talking about DraftKings lineups.
No, I'm talking about betting them too.
Window double digits. Here's my money.
It's not a bet on Cincinnati. It's a bet against the Colts, who are brutal. That's the bet.
Even that game a few weeks ago, their last home game, I thought the Bengals were really going to take care of Buffalo, and they made me sweat it out till the very end.
Buffalo's significantly better than Indianapolis.
I agree. There's 7 points here. I'm so dumb. I'm like the hamster going back to that electronic fence with that piece of cheese. But
Tim, you're taking Indianapolis?
You're both taking Indy, I guarantee it.
I'm taking the Colts. It's too many points for the Bengals to be laying into anybody. So just out of principle, I'll take Indianapolis.
I don't know where I lean on this game, just because I think that since he's D-line...
I'm disgusted by this pick.
This is a no. This game is not a bet-on game. This is a game to keep away from your Super 7. I like Cincy more at the beginning of the week before the world loved Cincy. Like, this opened at 9. It's now 11. Like, I'm gonna stick with Cincy, but I don't like this at all. Like, at least I gave a description of how I think the Bears could cover against New Orleans. How does Indy cover this game? That Cincinnati just doesn't score?
Oh, Cincy just be Cincy.
Andy Dalton.
Like, I don't even know how... Yeah. Like,
he's closed.
Yeah, AJ Green wide open, off his hands, like right into a pick six.
And Indy has weapons. I mean, Brissett can throw to T.Y. Hilton, who's an excellent receiver, and they can lose the game 17-10. It's a cover. Or, good Lord, they could win the game 16-13 or lose the game 16-13. I just think if you're going to, I actually would advise people in the Super 7 to play the Colts because I think it'll be like the most contrarian play of the week.
Why is the spread?
Because the spread's so huge. I think.
No, but in the Super 7, is it a different line? Because there's no way people are going to be taking Cincy.
That's what I mean. Well, I don't
so
know
why are you
about
saying
that.
taking the Colts? I'd say if you want to be contrarian, I would say Cincy. I don't see anyone
I would
betting
bet
Cincy.
Cincy's one of the top 5 plays in Super 7.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Is the number like 9? Is that why?
I believe it's 10 in Super 7.
Okay.
And you just picked the 11, so people are in.
I picked it because it just seems crazy and it's backdoor and it just feel like it's going to be a home game that leads to a little tilted.
It's 10 and a hook in the Super 7.
My bet is just on Indy's bad. It's just like my bet against Cleveland. Cleveland's bad. I'm just going to keep betting against the bad teams and see how it works out. The Chargers at New England. Tim and I will be at Gillette Stadium, at least before the game. We might have to hang around and watch the game and do some shooting after as well. But I'll let you start here with your mighty Chargers. I think the Chargers win this game. That's where I'm coming from. You and I think exactly the same way of what's going to happen here. And with Tim being at the stadium, give your theory on what could happen.
I think everything's going to happen. I think it's all coming up Tim Anderson. And I am heartbroken I can't be there. Because I would just go to this game on my own. That's how much this team has earned me going to this game. And I've been to Gillette Stadium once before. It was for an AFC title game. I was in the upper bowl. LaDainian was wearing a jacket on the sidelines.
And his helmet.
And his Darth Vader mask. And Nate actually hit his freaking kicks that day. Gates dropped a touchdown. We're going to win the football game. Or if we're not, this 7 is a joke. And I even bet a 7.5. Big. And don't cut this part out, because my wife doesn't need to see it.
So
big.
Don't cut it out?
Like other parts of it, but that part you could leave out.
Okay.
7.5. We don't lose anything big. And on a teaser, it might be the safest. We're the safest teaser team on the planet. We bring the better defense into this football game. If there's anyone that can put Brady off his spot, it would be us. And you alluded to the present Tim gets. Well, wouldn't it be perfect? Tim, it's going to come up you, buddy. You're going to be there. If it could ever happen, his Steve Young on his knees crawling to the sideline moment after Bosa puts a helmet in his spine. It's going to happen. Well, he can't, if there's anyone in the league that's going to do this, it's us. For all those Brady is done truthers, this is the game. This is the game.
I just see Brady playing, those Denver games, even in the playoff game when Denver just brought the heat on him the entire time. And I think they even won one of those games, but Brady just did not play all that well.
Well, we've never beaten Brady. I don't think Phillip has ever beaten Brady. Certainly not in a postseason. And LaDainian acted like a sad sack after because we lost, because we're idiots. We've never beaten Brady. I don't think our offense is even playing that well yet. I can't wait till our offense sort of finds some traction.
I don't know if it's going to find any traction.
Ever?
I think it's just too disjointed.
No, that's impossible. We're going to a bye next week. We're going to be just fine. We got weapons. Things are going to work out there.
So
they lost their middle linebacker now, too.
Yeah, Hightower's done for the year, I think. Or he's at least placed on IR with a torn pec. But the big thing here is the pass rush. And we've seen Brady get sacked more times this year than he did all last season. Now they're facing Bosa and Ingram. They're going to get to the...
And we got other guys, too.
Sure, but that's the big thing.
Yeah.
So the only really... When you think about how this game works out for New England, it's going to be they're going to try to run the ball, which could work because the Los Angeles Chargers of... The San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles do not have the best run defense.
But we have finally shored that up a bit. I'll tell you what, that game versus Denver...
Yeah, but they also got out in front, and Denver couldn't really run the ball anymore.
We made first contact tackling all day.
Okay, so the pressure on Brady is bad. That means a lot of James White, a lot of Danny Amendola. I'm thinking, very quick passes.
Very quick.
And that kind of mitigates the impact that Gronk can have in this game. Gronk might be asked to block a lot, too, if there's too much pressure, because Gronk is a very good blocker. The big thing on the Patriots defense, especially with Hightower out now, do you know who they cannot cover? And this kind of goes to your point. You've been talking about it for weeks. They cannot cover tight ends, man.
No, not tight ends. This tight end.
Well, or tight ends in general.
And
They couldn't cover Austin Safarian-Jenkins,
Okay.
Tim's buddy.
Well, you finally given Hunter, and maybe it's a Patriots thing, but I see your rankings are respecting Hunter.
Yeah, no, he's been trending up lately, but this is a great matchup.
And I'll tell you what, without Hightower making the plays or making the calls at the line of scrimmage, Phillip Rivers will win us this game right here.
Although someone did bring up to me, this reeks of the classic Phillip Rivers game where he throws 4 picks, and it's just
No. The only thing this reeks of is us losing a heartbreaker.
Well, that's fine as long as they cover the 7.
That's what this reeks of. If you bet the Patriots, you better bet over your life that they get out in front and that they can run the ball. Because if we can find a way to score some points early and make it a football game, or like you said, make them somehow have to come back in a football game like they do every time. How many times this year have they made comebacks and then it's over and you're like, I can't believe we ever thought they were going to lose? They'll lose this one if they fall behind.
Tim.
I think I know what Geoff's Superlock is going to be.
Well, what do you think of this game? I assume you're taking the Chargers too.
I am taking the Chargers against the number because I do think that 7 is way too big. But I am going to tease the Patriots down to a pick'em in my team.
Oh, this is gonna be, and you're at the game. Oh, yeah. This is gonna be great.
Do you think that's safer than going reverse?
I do, and let me explain why. Because the Chargers are a West Coast team playing an early game.
We've already done that.
Making perhaps the farthest physical trip.
We're not Arizona.
A team can make from Southern California to Boston. So. That cannot be understated. Phillip Rivers, as you said, has never beaten the Tom Brady-led Patriots. He did once when the Patriots were starting Matt Castle, but he's never beaten the Patriots in his career when Tom Brady is under center. The Patriots look like they're starting to turn that ship around. They're at home. They're running out of home games already to play, so this is a pretty darn big game for the Patriots to play. Do I really think they're going to lose 3 home games this season before Halloween? I don't. And so while I'm with you, I think the number is too big. I think they beat the spread. I think that the Patriots and Gostowski hits a game winner and the Pats win it by 3. So we're going to tease them down to a pick, but against the number, we want the Chargers plus 7.
This is so insane. He thinks they're going to win a 3-point game, and he thinks the play is to tease them to a pick-em.
And not the Chargers.
And not the 14. God forbid that Gostkowski kick hits the upright, and he's not already won his bet going overtime. No. Sorry. I'm not saying you're wrong. We could very well lose this game. We're the Chargers. There's so many ways this can go wrong. Maybe we do get our asses kicked.
Well,
but your logic is so backwards. That's all. That's all.
Just address where I was wrong on some of those points. I mean, it is an early game. The Chargers do not historically do well on the East Coast.
See, I would disagree. Because I have a memory of us winning many, many East Coast games. It's not even a problem. We actually even got off the mat on the East Coast a couple weeks ago in New York.
So, I mean, like I said, do you really think the Patriots are going to lose 3 home games?
I don't even look at it like that. I look at it like it's 3.5 hours Sunday, and there's a rainbow that has finally presented itself to us, and there's a bye week coming for us. And if we could walk through the valley and find our way to foreign... No, I don't want to talk about it.
I just want them to cover the 7. I just want them to cover... I don't care if they win. I just want them to cover the 7.
But his logic is insane, right?
Yeah, if you do think it's going to be a really close game and it comes down to a field goal and Gostkowski, why wouldn't you just tease it up to 14 instead of teasing the Patriots down?
Because he's going to the game and he wants a glad hand high fives the people around him. What's the deal?
Oh, that'll be glorious when he's high-fiving Patriots fans.
That's not the reason, but it's just I asked myself, do I want to trust more in Tom Brady or Phillip Rivers in this situation? And the answer is Tom Brady.
Okay. Oakland at Buffalo. Buffalo is a 2.5-point favorite at home against the upstart reverse cursed Raiders. The Raiders are back now that Tim has given up on them. They go they beat Tim's best team in football on a Thursday night. They got 18 plays from fourth and whatever in goal it was. I think it was second and goal. By the way, Jared Cook sucks.
Thanks. We all knew this already.
No, but people keep them mad. Jared Cook had over 100 yards. Yeah, you see him drop a wide open touchdown to win the game? Yeah, that's Jared Cook.
They're going to get throttled in this game.
Throttled, probably. I don't know if the Bills can throttle anyone.
Another West Coast team coming east into a tough spot outdoors. With just, I don't know, the Raiders seem like they kept their season alive last week with a great win at home against the Chiefs, but Buffalo's a tough place to play. The Raiders don't do a lot of things well. The Buffalo does play great defense. They don't turn the ball over. The Raiders are happy to turn the Raiders have a terrible defense, whereas Buffalo has a great defense, a great special teams. That's a tough spot. That crowd is going to be insane. I like the Bills by a touchdown, maybe by 10 points. I just don't. I think it'll be a low-scoring game, like 13-3 or 13-6. I just think the Raiders are just not going to be really in the game.
There were threes for a brief moment, I believe, here. And I liked it.
It opened at 3.
Yeah, I liked it. I'm going to take Oakland because if it was 3, I would for sure take them. I'm going to lean there. Oakland plus the 3 could end up being real money. I don't care. The Bills.
I feel like the Bills are just a play against team right now.
You just took the words out of my mouth. You took the words out of
my
mouth. And I don't know if you remember this, but I swear to you 3 weeks ago right here, I said the Bills are play against and the Chargers are play on. And I don't know. The Bills have actually done pretty well.
But like, should the Bills even have won last week?
In some cases they covered for people. I got an annoying push, and I love Buffalo and everything I said last week about them and that stadium and the people jumping through fire. It was awesome. It was like they do it right and they'll do it right again. But I'm going to take the Raiders here to weasel one out at the Ralph.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders as well. I don't like the West Coast coming east, especially with Derek Carr. But I don't know if they've necessarily gelled. But even after like watching so much of the Bills last week, Tyrod's doing a good job of not turning the ball over. And I just don't know if they have, like, McCoy's gonna need to go kind of crazy again. It seemed like his, like, OTD kind of rectified itself last week. He ended up scoring twice, hadn't scored all season. McCoy is good. McCoy is probably the best offensive player in this game. But then, like, the next 3 all go to the Raiders. Like, I actually think not having Marshawn Lynch helps them because he was not good.
And I'll tell you,
it would have been a revenge game.
It would have been a revenge game. That is true.
Best player in this football game is going to make a showcase. It's going to on the defensive side, and it's Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack homecoming to Buffalo.
Homecoming. The Bills. What? When they traded up for Watkins, there's not a person I was with that didn't think it was for Mack.
They probably should have done that.
The UB, like whoa, because they could have just stayed at their pick and taken Beckham.
That's true.
Like if they wanted a receiver.
Wasn't Mike Evans in that draft too?
I believe he was.
The Bills' front office is not a particularly competent group. I think this is known.
Yeah, so I like Oakland here. I think Oakland wins the game, so this seems like the Bills' heartbreak is coming soon. I don't know when it's going to come, and maybe they reel off like 7 wins in a row, and then they lose out to miss the playoffs, but something bad is coming the Bills' way. I don't see how they can keep generating these turnovers just to watch it. Like, it's so weird.
The Raiders are frauds, I do not believe.
See, this is great news for Oakland. I may have to lock in Oakland.
Is this like reverse on his Super Bowl thing?
Yeah, but he gave up on Oakland last week before the Thursday game, remember? Now they're 1-0 ever since they've been reverse cursed.
But like
the curse has been lifted.
Kansas City loses a game, Oakland plays Kansas City again, and all of a sudden it's like for the division.
Yeah, don't worry.
Tim doesn't look at those things.
Don't worry about that.
I'm not believing in it. I got my own team to believe in terms of that scenario.
They're about to take their 5th loss and essentially be out of the playoffs. I'm not worried about
that. Would very possible.
That would make me want to be on Oakland here. The Bills can afford to drop one because they're going to annihilate the Jets on next Thursday.
No, the Bills can't. They are in a dogfight with New England and Miami.
But thank you. Thursday game. Another reason to want to be fading Buffalo. Big division game on deck.
San Francisco at Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a 12.5-point favorite. People are already tweeting me. It's going to be a lot of rain. Now, that's problematic because the players are made of sugar and they might melt.
On. We got bad weather in Philly.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there.
Oh, yeah. Bad weather on Sunday.
And the whole crew's no, I'm not going because I gotta just watch the Chargers play. But
Jewish wedding Sunday.
No, this one's actually going to be on a Saturday.
Okay, nice weather Saturday.
Okay, but I'm saying so many people in the party are going to the game on Sunday.
Oh, that sucks.
Including the bride. She's a big Eagles fan.
Here's the big thing, though. We're for full disclosure, we're recording this on a Thursday morning.
Yeah.
But, like, people are sending me stuff Wednesday night about the weather. We do a lot of golf. And when people start freaking out about like wind 7 days out of a tournament, like just wait till the night before and see what's going on. Turns out weather, it changes. And people you think that our picks are bad for football? Weather picks even worse.
Great point.
Like last week, people on Sunday morning were like, should I bench Drew Brees for, I don't know, whoever, because they're playing in the rain? Rain doesn't really make a difference. If it's just normal rain, guys can play in the rain. Wind is the big deal when it comes to football. If stuff gets over like 17 miles per hour, then stuff becomes wonky. The balls start floating. Kickers can't kick. I would actually think in the rain it helps offenses. The offense knows where they're going. They know where the traction is. If you start getting defenders turned around, they're going to fall over.
I like Philly.
You like Philly to cover the 12 and a half?
I just think San Francisco, yeah. They've played a lot of close games for a while. I think it's just going to be ugly for a bit for them.
In the previous game, the coin took Oakland and the Chargers before that. Tim, who are you taking here?
Yeah, I'm going to lay the points with Philadelphia. The Niners were fun while it lasted, but they just laid a complete egg against a pretty overvalued Cowboys team, and I just don't see how now they're going all the way to the East Coast to play what I think is the best team in the conference, and they're only getting 12.5. I think this line should be 14. I think the value is on Philadelphia.
Does anyone think Tim sends the Eagles to the Super Bowl and they lose their left tackle for the year and anything to do with
and their middle linebacker? Like that
basically
the
wrapped up the NFC East on Monday too. So whatever.
That was the poll that we released on Monday. How many weeks until the Ander curse really hits Philadelphia? So is it going to be like an Atlanta situation from last year where it happened at halftime of the Super Bowl? We don't know. But so far things are, I don't know. I'm taking San Francisco here. I think it's a lot of points. And maybe Brian Hoyer gets back in. That was their covering solution. Play Brian Hoyer. That guy knows how to cover.
Certainly was.
I don't know.
It was.
I don't get why it's 12.5. It should be higher.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't know.
Doesn't that seem... I should have went with my instinct in taking Cleveland last week when that number made no sense to me, but like, I get 12.5 as a gigantic number, but Philly, who everyone just watched, and all they do is put up points. They have this explosive offense, and people did watch San Francisco because they played Dallas and they got absolutely shellacked. Like, I don't know. I think it's going to be like
it won't go off at this.
What's that?
12.5 such a weird number. It won't go off at this.
I'm going to take San Francisco in this game. All right, we're at the midway point, which means, Geoff, there's a lot of 1 o'clock games.
Yep.
So now that we are at the midway point, that means we need to do a mini edition of CUST Corner.
CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. CUST Corner,
Top cat corner, probably.
Well, you put out, the only other poll that slanted more the other way. The only other...
Like when you let a guy,
pick his own
self-proclaimed nickname. Has anyone ever called you Top Cat?
No one has ever called him. He's called himself Top Cat.
It happens all the time, actually.
So Tim puts out the poll about the fries. It's 95 to 5% against the way that he thinks. He put out a poll about Top Cat Corner versus CUST Corner. It was like 100% CUST Corner. And then he deleted the poll off Twitter.
I did not delete the poll. I did not delete it.
So, because we're getting close to Halloween, Tim, you have some definitive Halloween rankings for us?
Of course I do. The people have been clamoring for it. Now, I will have to say that with this ranking, I spent a lot of time last night working it through. Oftentimes, it's sort of like, you remember that scene from Amadeus when Salieri comes to Mozart's house and asks to see the original sheet work of Mozart's concertos, and he said, well, where are the originals? Because these are perfect. And Mozart's wife says, oh, no, he never has to make a correction. And Salieri said, it's like he's taking dictation from the Lord. That's usually how my lists are, that they require little amendation whatsoever. But this time, I really had to work it through to come up with the top 10 definitive list of Halloween candies.
You know, this does not support your argument that you have to use a microwave because you have no time to cook.
So, if you're
and also, what a hip reference, Amadeus.
That people have seen that movie.
Oh yeah, it was a Best Picture winner in 1983.
84, I think.
So it came out 3 years before you were born. But yeah, very topical reference, Tim.
Play Salieri. It's a great movie. If people haven't seen that movie, go watch it. It really is a classic, and it holds up.
All right, give us your list. What is your list anyway? What are the rankings for?
It's the top 10 Halloween candies.
Oh God!
So if you're trick-or-treating, whatever, this is what the top 10 things you want to get for Halloween.
Can I try to guess what your number one is?
Fire away.
Isn't it obvious?
I'm gonna guess it's candy corn, or it could be that marshmallow that's shaped like a peanut, which people use as doorstops.
No, number one is candy corn.
Terrible.
Number two.
Maybe if you quit smoking, your taste buds would come back.
There's no way a kid wants that.
Everyone wants that. They're delicious. They're made with honey. That's what makes them natural and delicious.
Yeah, if there's one thing I think about when it comes to candy corn, it's au naturel. No processing going into that.
Because you don't know any better. Number two are those candy pumpkins. Like the mallow cream ones, the little orange pumpkin with the green little stem on them. They are awesome. They're delicious. They're number two. Number three are the Halloween Peeps. Peeps, of course, are one of the greatest candies on the face of the earth. The ones shaped particularly like jack-o'-lanterns are great. They're a great Halloween candy. Number four is the Molasses Kisses. Kurz makes them. They're oftentimes wrapped in the orange, I wouldn't say foil, I guess it's a wrapper. Those are great. They're both great to chew on or to suck on. They're a fantastic candy. Then there's a gap. Then number five is the cookies, mini cookies and cream bars. Obviously, white chocolate's the best chocolate, and so it's delicious, and it's hip, and it's really good. Number six, raisins, not washed up. Not your regular sun-kissed box of raisins. Delicious. Everyone likes them. You can't go wrong with raisins. Raisins are awesome.
You hear the first four and you're like, it can't get dumber.
Then the next one are Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Okay, I like Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Then there's
not as much as raisins, but sure.
Raisins are excellent. Then there's a gap. Then it's the mini Kit Kat bars. Now, just as a word of warning, do not break your Kit Kat.
Oh yeah, he doesn't break the Kit Kat bar. He eats it like he pours his condiments on it, then eats it whole.
I like to bite right out of the side of the Kit Kat bar or from the top. Either way, I don't care. But I never snap them into pieces, and you shouldn't either. Don't play with your food.
I broke so many mini ones yesterday, just to tell you.
They're great. Mini Cat. That's why they're on the list. I love them. Number 9 are mini Mars bars, or in the States, they're Milky Way bars. Either which way, those are excellent. Those are at 9. And then number 10 are Whoppers. Very underrated candy, but excellent.
No.
Whoppers are phenomenal.
Tim.
You know what the best candy I ever got on Halloween was?
Full-size chocolate?
Oh, yeah, the full-size chocolate. This is why you always want to go. Like, you want to go to a rich area to go trick-or-treating. Also, that goes along with going to a rich area to go trick-or-treating would be, there was this guy who gave out candy bags. The candy was sort of irrelevant in them, but he had like 200 or 250 bags, and he hid $500 bills in them.
What?
That was the highest one.
I never got that.
The complete list I have at
your
DFL.
list doesn't even deserve to be.
Yeah, I don't even really want.
I don't even think we need to break it down. It's so absurd.
It is. This is one of your more outrageous lists.
Give my DFLs first. So I
oh God, yeah. What do you have in last place?
Like,
Henry?
No, but what's not?
No, the tie at DFL: Sweet Tarts and Rockets.
I like Sweet Tarts.
Terrible.
Love them both.
I don't really. I don't really love Rockets.
No, I don't love them.
I do like Sweet Tarts.
I don't know why. Sweet Tarts are fantastic.
So now that's my list. I will now face my accusers.
No, there's nothing to talk about.
Listen, we don't even need to.
There's not a jury in the world that would agree with you. Yeah, so it doesn't even need.
When you put this out on Twitter, have you put it out on Twitter yet?
I have not yet. No, I wanted to save it for the show.
Okay, you put it out right now on Twitter. Go tweet it out, and we'll check back at the end of the show to see what the comments are. And I will contend that you might not have one positive response.
The only thing missing from his goddamn list is like a Werther's.
Well, Werther's aren't a Halloween. Werther's are the best. The second.
Yeah, but I could see you and your like 88-year-old soul at the door handing out Werther's to 7-year-olds.
That would not happen. I would give out chicken bones or Scotch mints before I'd ever give out Werther.
Chicken bones are so disgusting.
I'm just saying, like, the only people that would agree with Tim's list potentially are the people he walks around the mall with. That's my point.
Yeah, you go on any mall walks recently?
I have gone on a couple, yes. Very nice.
Any new stuff at malls I should know about?
Well, Sears is liquidating here in Canada, so yes.
Oh, turns out they should have used the internet.
Aren't malls, like, they're There's empty spots in all these malls.
Yeah, of course. You know where the
all
mall is
our
now?
countries.
On my phone.
It's true.
I ordered an air purifier. Off
Yeah,
Amazon
just like this new Amazon trend.
Yeah, we got this Amazon.
Wait, okay, Amazon. What do you mean new Amazon trend?
Where they're going to allow, they have this thing called the Amazon Key, which will allow
people to drop the package off at the door.
I would definitely do that.
You know what? I would say, I agree. We are huge Amazon Prime people. Thank Amazon, and we're getting our Lily's costume on time because we're Amazon people. And Amazon is amazing. We do like diapers on Amazon. It's literally out of this world amazing.
Yeah, but you can't go to the mall, Jeff. You can't do that.
No, you have to have Amazons. You have to have Amazons. Like, now they have all these like home cam systems. Yeah. So to be able to have the service where they can come in your thing,
you need to be able to record it.
You have to be an owner of the Amazon like cam system.
That makes sense.
And then they set it up, and that's how. And you could see the person just drop it off. That's it. I don't know. I don't mind. The Amazon guy like knows us. I would let that guy that is doing 80% of our drop-offs open my door and drop it off. Wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, I don't have a concierge at my building anymore, so it's problematic for me. I have to.
Now here's a first world problem. I haven't got a concierge.
You love the first world. You're like Mr. First World. You don't give a shit about the third world.
I could see Tim would be that guy in the building though that would literally talk up the concierge.
Oh yeah,
for like extended periods of time.
We've already determined that Tim's best friend is Siri, so I mean a concierge would just be out of this world.
Yeah, Spike Jonze basically wrote that whole movie about me, right?
Well, I mean, he ripped off a Black Mirror idea, but sure. Siri is my only friend.
I did just tweet out my list, so we'll see what the people think.
All right, and I will give it a retweet now. Let's run through some of our favorite candies, so people don't think the show is just for demented people. Chips.
You better have raisins on there, because raisins are
fucking terrible, you moron.
Mini chocolate bars. You just buy the box, like...
It's Halloween. Why would I want fucking raisins?
The mini chocolate bar and the best box, like, there's a Cadbury box that just gets me. It's got, like, the caramels and the crunchy...
Coffee crisp?
And maybe... Well, that's in the Nestle box.
Oh, okay.
The Nestle box is standard. It's Coffee Crisp, Aero, Smarties, Kit Kat. It's a quality box. And the other box is like the M&Ms, Snickers.
I like O. Henry. I like Snickers. I can get like a
mini M&Ms, mini Smarties.
How about mini bags of Doritos?
Mini Doritos.
But no, candy corn and raisins.
What about glossettes? You not like glossettes?
Glossettes are okay.
It's acceptable.
It's better than like the little red box of raisins.
What about like the chewed caramel?
Those are good.
I would prefer the mini caramel.
Don't you like you like can chew that up in your mouth for a minute, and then you'd imagine that's what Otis Nixon's face looks like.
That's good.
I stole that from a really funny friend of mine who said like Otis Nixon's face looks like one of those like chewed caramels.
All right, so
talk about the candy apples. Like I feel like you can't accept a candy apple from someone's house. Like if I had a son or daughter and we were trick or treating and someone gave them a candy apple. I think I could let them have it.
Probably not, unless it's like the neighbor that you really trust.
Yeah, but if you really trusted them, they wouldn't be giving out candy apples. Let's be real.
By the way, caramel apples are much better than candy apples.
I'll say this, and I'll be doing it 100% because it's right across where I'll be on Monday. The day after Halloween, I'll be hitting up that Walmart.
Oh, for the cheap candy?
Oh, dude, the like 70% off.
I do the exact same thing.
It's the move.
Wednesday morning, I will be there when it opens. Because that stuff doesn't expire until like March. So you can live high on the hog on cheap, high-quality Halloween candy at fair price.
Good thing we'll be buying different things. You're going for the gross stuff.
Yo, he's going to go buy them out of candy corn because they've sold none.
By the way, I will say that Kerr's Candy has already liked my list.
Who the hell is Kerr's Candy?
It's like I know what they are. They make like the Scottish mint. They make like old people mints and stuff.
They also make...
They follow Tim?
They also make the molasses kisses.
Oh well, molasses kisses. They probably have a Google and Twitter alert set up for if anyone ever mentions the kisses.
So that's the list. Halloween is great. That is a definitive.
You know, it's a rare find now thing about
See,
Halloween. The
here-
rare find is getting like the mini Butterfinger.
All right, so this list has been up for like 30 seconds, and one person just says, "This is your worst list of all time." Good thing they're not definitively ranked, but they are. He just ran out of characters because he doesn't have 280, but he did say that at the beginning. Someone else has replied, "This is how people get egged, Tim."
Somebody wrote, "Every day we stray farther and farther from the light of God."
And this guy actually did misunderstand your list because he said, "Good call on Whoppers. Yuck." But he doesn't realize that they're in your top 10. He thinks that they're in DFL.
Oh, no.
This is horrible. This is...
Even now, you can get like the mini, like Sour Patch Kids, like mini packs.
That would
and
be
stuff.
maybe number one. I love Sour Patch Kids.
Right, and the mini Fuzzy Pete, like that sort of Cherry Blasters in the mini packs.
This person says, at this point, is he playing a character? I don't even believe half these tweets are real.
That's the thing. But he believes everything he says. That's one thing I'll stand by in defense of Tim. Unless I've been worked this whole time.
This has to be a fake list. Candy corn is so awful. Pat, I was offered a trade. I get Latil. Fuck off.
Like, Tim is Vince McMahon, and, like, I've just been worked for 4 years.
So you're like Donald Trump phoning WWE headquarters, being like, "Is Vince okay?"
After the limo exploded.
What's your game?
I only tweet the things I believe, and all I owe to the people is my honest opinion.
I say that to my wife multiple times. No. He, like, if he says it, he believes it. He's crazy like that.
This person says raisins, Whoppers, and the worst Easter candy of all time. Someone needs to stop this man. Shout out Geoff Johnson.
Okay, and we haven't even done another game and we've gotten these responses.
This is true, so we'll check back in at the end. Very quickly, best Halloween costume you've ever had? Geoff.
Probably myself. I went as I guess the April before Halloween, there's this big event at Western. It's called like Splash Bash. You get like it's like a paint
So
party.
it's not
It's
Halloween.
Like no.
Do you dress up for Purim?
No, hear me out. And I got punched out by a bouncer at that party. So for Halloween, I like redid my black eyes with like makeup and wore my Splash Bash t-shirt. It just made my friends pop. I was myself from that night.
My first year of college, I got my face broken on Halloween. That sucked. Eye socket broken.
That's really the only punch
Eye
I've
socket
ever taken,
broken.
too, I just want to say.
Please.
I'm not a fighter.
Tim, your best Halloween costume.
I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I know when I was little, I went as an astronaut. My father spent like a month building my costume, and it was awesome.
So you just don't dress up for Halloween, is what you're saying?
I went.
Not really. I mean, I'll throw a get up on here or there, but I don't go all out for it.
With a friend of mine, we went as Crockett and Tubbs from Miami Vice one year, and we went as like 1980s Miami Vice, but this was right after the Miami Vice movie with like Jamie Foxx came out, and he drank so much tequila during the course of the night, he morphed into Jamie Foxx by the end of the night. He had a bandana on, he was wearing a wife beater. It was bad luck for me. But it was still, when we showed up, it was awesome. Anyway, let's get back to the games. Houston at Seattle. Seattle is a 5.5 point favorite at home against Deshaun Watson. Are you sweating Deshaun Watson here? Because people like don't want to start him in fantasy, but he's been the best fantasy quarterback.
I really like Seattle here.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why?
I just think it's a bad spot for Houston.
I think it might be a good spot for Houston. I think people are kind of sleeping on how good Houston might be.
I don't.
Dwayne Brown back?
I think Seattle will be able to get theirs, and I really trust. I'm a big believer in Seattle.
Okay, Tim, are you a big believer in Seattle?
No, I still think they're kind of fraudulent. I like the Texans in this game.
I like the Texans as well. I think
Texans money line in this game.
Texans money line in this game.
Are they being teased?
Yeah,
12 and a half.
You would have to tease them then if they're going to win.
No,
don't need to tease them. They're going to win, but I don't want to tease it up to 12 and a half.
I think that's what will happen, but I'm not super confident about it, sort of thing. Like I think that Houston will win, but I just don't like. It's not a game I want to bet on. It's just a hunch I have. I'm not confident about it.
I just think that Deshaun can score points with them. I think there might be an untimely turnover. Maybe Houston loses by 3, but I think it is a very close game.
I don't think Seattle can score with them.
Why?
Because we haven't seen it yet. When was the last time we saw Seattle really explode?
Last week, in like an 8-minute period, they went from like being up a field goal to crushing.
How many points did they score against the Giants? 20?
24.
not 24 points. Oh my!
Oh, on the road, cross country. Like, doesn't that mean it's 34 at home?
No, it doesn't. They're okay.
I know it doesn't, but Houston with the injuries, big exhibition game versus, who did they? I'm thinking of the Cleveland game, but last week, where did we see these guys?
Texans were idle last week.
And they beat the crap out of Tennessee. They beat the crap out of Cleveland. Like,
Yes, yeah. No.
this is a real test for them.
I like Seattle. The only thing that worries me about Seattle is sometimes, as Tim has alluded to, these out-of-conference games, they really don't mean as much to some teams than they do to others sometimes.
No, Sunday Night Football needs to stop putting these on. This is now 5 straight weeks of interconference games. It's like they're purposely trying to not get people to watch football on Sunday nights.
This is not a Sunday night game.
No, but there is an interconference Sunday night game again this week, and it doesn't make sense to put on the games we want to see that have history and tradition instead of Indianapolis and Seattle or Pittsburgh and Detroit. That
Tim, that not everyone is like you and is like besides themselves that like the Cincinnati Reds don't play in the first game every year anymore. People don't give a shit about this.
People would rather watch, like we saw Monday night, Redskins Eagles, or would rather watch Vikings Packers,
Tim would be very upset when the Reds stopped playing the first game. I believe that's something based on his age that is like dear to him.
People just want to see a big name player on one side play a big name player on the other side. So if it's 2 quarterbacks, people want to see that. That's why the Seattle Indianapolis game got pushed into Sunday night, because they thought it was going to be Wilson versus Luck, which would have been awesome. People would have really enjoyed to watch that. It just didn't turn out to be the case because there were injuries.
That's nice. I'd rather watch Steelers.
Yeah, but as we've determined, you represent 0% of the population based on your opinion. So who gives a fuck what you think? No one's gearing TV towards you.
Also, this is probably we're not even there yet, but this week in particular, they're going H2H with Clayton Kershaw in Game 5.
Do you think the Sunday Nighter will do better ratings?
No.
And it's weird.
Normally they do, because before, I don't know if you remember, when we were younger, the league wouldn't play on Sunday night, the NFL. They almost had this truce.
2009.
They had a truce with them, with like almost the commission, like, okay, we don't want to go head-to-head versus the World Series. There's enough for everyone, yada, yada, yada. And then when McNabb was traded to the Eagles, literally like 2 minutes
to the Skins.
Into a Yankees, into the Skins, 2 minutes into baseball's opening night Yankees-Red Sox game, Tagliabue, or whoever the commissioner was of baseball, Seelig, made these like really nasty comments about the NFL, and then the league was like, okay, truce over. And since then, they've sort of been bulking up this specific Sunday Nighter, but this one seems to have been taking a tone back.
There's still probably a 50-50 chance this game outrates the World Series game. Football is exponentially more popular than baseball.
You asked me to pick, I'm going to guess. I don't know. This World Series seems special. And Kershaw's pitching because it's Game 5.
Is he going? He's not going 4? 1,
no,
4, and 7?
Game 5.
I believe, they're going 4. They have a 4-man rotation. I saw the Dodgers.
Like I was saying yesterday, this World Series has less juice because it's just 2 NL West teams playing. Not a real World Series in that sense, but it's good baseball, and so one should hope that attracts viewers. And
so Tim is sad. Tim is upset because a former National League team there's 2 National League teams playing in the World Series for Tim.
Won the National League.
He can't get over it. He can't get over it.
Yeah, it's annoying, and it should be annoying. However, it's good baseball. I will say that, and it's a shame that football.
Are you over the Brewers being in the NL?
No. I am not.
So let me ask you this: how come you've never gone on a Seattle should be an AFC West team?
Because the AFC and NFC aren't separate leagues and don't play by separate rules.
Okay, fine.
So and don't have a history of only playing each other. So I don't.
They don't have a history of only playing each other. It's been like 25 years of interleague.
No, it hasn't been that long at all. Actually,
hasn't it been since like 96?
It's been about 96.
So it's been 20 years. Sorry,
I was like 11. Yeah. It's been like 18 years or something.
Like I said with Tim.
It's stupid.
Tim wants baseball like it was in 1867. That's it. I'm surprised you even watch football. Too new.
Football doesn't have the history that baseball does. Well, I don't care.
I mean, it doesn't have the history of the forward pass. They should outlaw that.
I can't believe he hasn't boycotted the Blue Jays because they don't play on natural grass.
That's annoying, but of course, there was a time in the 80s when almost everyone played on artificial turf. So,
That must have really bugged you, too.
Well, since it was in the 80s, it was almost before he was born. So that does sound like something he would get riled up about. Stuff that he's never seen.
God forbid I show any reverence towards any form of tradition.
Yeah, but that's all you care about, is what happened 60 years ago.
You only show reverence to these sorts of things.
Baseball would be so much better if they just added 2 teams and eliminated interleague for good.
What's so weird?
That's what made the World Series so special.
The only thing he doesn't give reverence to, that he disrespects, that should be revered, is the Masters.
I like the Masters a lot. It's also the newest major, and
so it sucks.
Least deserving of reverence. It's not the Open.
There it is.
It'll never be the Open.
Least deserving major of reverence. That's the term.
You know what? That was a hot take, and I take that back. It's in 3rd place behind the Open and the U.S. Open. And it just is. And it will always be that.
Even the players will tell you they want to win the Masters.
Well, they can. Of course they do, because they get to go back there for life, and it's a beautiful course.
Yeah, that's why they want to win the Masters, so they can play in the Masters for life. That's why they want to win.
It doesn't have the history.
No, but I mean, isn't that why it's the one they all want to win?
I think it's the most prestigious tournament, so people want to win it.
But it's also the one that is the most welcoming for your history welcomes you more there than anything.
And you get the jacket. It's the nicest course.
Just as an example, for a U.S. Open or an Open Championship, you're only remembered when they're back at Royal Lytham, and then we'll remember the guys that won at Royal Lytham.
Sure, it's good for your history book, but it also is the most important tournament. That's why people want to win it. Mm-hmm. It's at the best course. It's the one that people care about the most.
Yeah, fair.
And it's played at the same course every year, so that really helps.
If you live in Europe, I guarantee you would rather.
How can you guarantee me, since you've never been to Europe or care what people in Europe think?
I have never heard a single Englishman ever say they would rather win.
Danny Willett did.
I agree. I don't know. I'm torn. I would think to English to some Europeans.
Sure, maybe to some, but he guarantees that all Europeans feel this way, Geoff.
It's the world's Open. The Masters is a wonderful thing, and it's great to watch, and it's a lot of fun. But it's not the Open, and it's not the National Championship either. So that's just simply the way it is.
You guys keep sidetracking the games here.
It's true.
Well, we're almost out of games.
Well, we still need to fucking finish.
All right, fine. Let's go then.
Yeah, it's me. It's me who's holding this up. Dallas at Washington. Washington's a 1.5-point dog at home. Dallas coming off a big win. People saw them blow out the 49ers, and we just saw Washington deal with a few more injuries. They lost to Philadelphia. It's a short week. Don't think Washington could ever win. Disagree. Picking Washington. Washington wins this game.
Piggybacking that, to me, Dallas is still grossly overrated. Their win versus the Niners didn't change much, in my opinion, on that.
I like their offense in this spot. I mean, Dallas' defense isn't all that great. Sean Lee being back helps, obviously. I don't know if they're going to be able to run the ball as well as they did against the 49ers. Actually, I kind of know that. Zeke's probably not going to start breaking off 70-yard TDs, and maybe the Redskins do turn it over a little bit, but Beathard really set them up for some easy, quick scores, and they got up in that game. And even without Josh Norman, there's no guarantee that he's out, but I doubt that he plays. The secondary for Washington is weird because they got beat deep a few times, but other than that, they kind of really clamped down for most of the game. And I mean, unless he throws to Bryce Butler every play, Dak Prescott, who's averaging I think he's 153 passer rating whenever he throws to Bryce Butler, but Dallas doesn't want to seem to use Bryce Butler. So I think it's going to be a close game, and I think the home team is going to win. I'll take a home dog here. Tim, where are you going?
I agree with everything that's been said. I like the Skins to win. I like them to cover. I think Dallas is getting tremendously overvalued because they blew out one of the, if not the worst team amongst the very worst teams in the NFL in a game where there was probably more Cowboys fans than there were 49ers fans in the stands. I love the Skins in this game. The Skins are still a really good team. Let's go with them.
All right, Pittsburgh at Detroit. Sunday nighter. Detroit, 2.5-point dog at home. Golden Tate is practicing somehow, despite being week to week with an AC joint injury. I don't think he ends up playing. Kenny Golladay will be back for Detroit. I really just worry that Pittsburgh has one of the best defensive lines in the league. They're just dominating, getting into the backfield, almost like the Chargers are in a big way. And I know they're coming off a bye, but I don't think that the Lions' offensive line got any better quickly. the way that I would think about this is Detroit pretty good in close games. Detroit good at backdoor covering games. But if they're going to backdoor cover this, it means they're going to win. And I don't think that they win. It's a really tough game for me because I do think it's going to be close. And I think it's going to be close. The lean for me would be 2.5. But I just think that Pittsburgh's a superior team. No Martavis Bryant. He's on the practice squad now.
No, but loving that juju. But I'll say this. This game at the full 3 was a super lock contender for me. I really like Detroit here.
Really?
Off the bye, at home. By all accounts, Stafford is healthy. No team in the league knows how to take care of its business better than the Pittsburgh Steelers. But no team in the league also knows when they don't need to take care of business like the Pittsburgh Steelers. AFC rival, best team in the league. Let's put the 0 away in Kansas City. Check. Division rival, Bengals, check. Road game, out of conference, pass. Detroit, outright.
Tim.
It's an interesting game. I mean, it's really a game that comes down with the point spread kind of not really factoring in, I don't think, at 2.5 very much. It's a game of in which team do you believe? And I actually do believe in Pittsburgh. I think that they're a very good football team right now. And the Lions have not earned one iota of respect or trust from me yet. So Pittsburgh returning to the site of their Super Bowl championship with Bettis, get the win. I think the Steelers win it by 5 or 6 points. Give me the Steelers.
I haven't seen where the trends are going on this game.
I would reference Super Bowl 40. We are going to play, I believe,
52.
Super Bowl 52 this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
That means a lot to the players on the team. But I would happen to think that, like, I haven't looked at it, but, you know, when you can look at, like, who's betting on each side of the spread, I would have to think this is, like, 75-80% Pittsburgh.
I feel like, yeah, particularly when the game kicks off.
But then the game went the other way, Pat.
No.
The line was a 3.
But I
think the Sharps are on Detroit, but I think the public will come in big on Pittsburgh for the night game.
I'm just saying.
I think you've kind of talked me into Detroit.
That wasn't my intention.
But I think that you have, now that I start thinking about it, yeah, the line, it's reverse line. I mean, I would actually have to go look at it. I just assumed the public is betting on Pittsburgh because the public, bets on Pittsburgh, and people hate betting on the Lions, and people now think that Pittsburgh's the best team in the league, which they might be. I mean, by DVOA, they're number 1, aren't they, Tim?
By DVOA, indeed, they are the best team in football.
I just think this really breaks down, and one of the reasons I was on the Bears so hot last week was that defensive line getting into the backfield and breaking up what they're going to do. Same reason I was on the Rams over Arizona. I just think that Pittsburgh's going to get into the backfield and just hassle Matt Stafford the entire time. And if Golden Tate doesn't play, what are they going to do?
Yeah, I agree. It's just, even though Detroit's coming off the bye, I just think Pittsburgh's starting to play good ball right now, and if Detroit wins, great, then I'll have to take that into consideration going forward, but I trust Pittsburgh.
This game scares me. I don't think I'm actually going to bet it, but I will pick Pittsburgh because this whole Detroit reverse line movement thing I think is kind of wonky.
I've already played a big 2-team teaser that has the Chargers
and Lions?
And the Lions. The Lions are on a 3 on that site, so I took the 10.
I could see the 10.
So I was really excited about that. I enjoyed that a lot. I'm pretty confident about that. But hey, what do you know? I'm the idiot that faded the Steelers last week on a teaser, and it cost me big.
Okay, final game, Monday Nighter. Denver at Kansas City. Chiefs 7-point favorites in this one. Semyon still playing. I don't know. I assume he's a bit healthier than last week. One of the big things.
Is he?
He might be. I would assume it's another week. You think he'd get healthier?
We body bagged him pretty good. It's Thursday morning. They're probably just taking the ice off a few Broncos.
Maybe, but Kansas City's not getting the same sort of pass rush that the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles do. But Denver can get pressure on the quarterback, and that's what the Steelers did to Alex Smith when the Steelers beat them, and that was in Kansas City. So, I mean, these teams play each other enough that, I mean, Denver's the only one with a real home field advantage because of the altitude. I think Denver can cover this number. I really do. Because Kansas City's defense, secret, not good.
I'm leading with you. This is a big number. It's a touchdown. We saw Denver 2 weeks ago get completely embarrassed on Monday Night Football in a game people thought was a safe.
Was that Monday or Sunday? Was it Monday?
Sunday night. Sorry, you're right. In a game that a lot of people thought was a really safe suicide spot. I think Denver's going to return a favor here to the football world.
I don't know if they win.
No, I don't know if they win here, but I think we're getting a 4-quarter Arrowhead football game. I think it's going to be a really close game. I take the 7.
Tim, since you proclaimed the Chiefs being the worst team in the league to begin the season, they start out undefeated and look unstoppable. Since you switched your opinion and John Kerry flip-flopped, they have now lost 2 games in a row after you've declared them the best team in football. So, what are you doing to the poor Chiefs now?
the Chiefs, we're going to tease them down to a pick. They're the fourth end of this money line parlay. The Chiefs, I have. There weren't a lot of games this week that I had a really strong feel about. I have the strongest feel on this game. I love laying the 7 with Kansas City in this game. Off 11 days of rest. Essentially, this is a bye week. Andy Reid's the best in the business when it comes off bye weeks. Denver looks like they've got nothing. Absolutely nothing. We've seen it now for several weeks, whether it be against Buffalo or against the Giants and then against the Chargers. Simeon is not a pro quarterback. Who knows whether Sanders is going to play? I disagree. I think Arrowhead is an incredibly hard place to play football. On Monday night, I don't think Denver is going to be able to breathe in there.
Did one of us say it was an easy place to play?
You said the only team that has a real home field advantage is Denver. Well, I think both teams have home field advantages.
I think this Arrowhead home field advantage thing is way overrated.
And actually, I could prove how I believe I saw a trend showing just how overrated it was. And they had that primetime game a couple weeks ago versus the Redskins they were lucky to cover. They lost the Steelers at home just their last home game, I believe.
Sure. No, of course. Well, teams do lose at home all the time. Like, that does happen. I'm just saying I trust in Arrowhead. I think this Denver team is absolutely putrid. I do think that the Chiefs win the game like 24-3 or 24-6. Like I think they would have all their work cut out for them to score a touchdown. That's how bad this team is right now. If the Chargers can shut them out, the Chiefs can shut them out.
Why? The Chiefs have a bad defense.
I was just taking a shot at the Chargers defense. Not very good. It's 17th overall. I think it's okay, but it's not great. The Chiefs are 25th.
I like how Tim buys into DVOA when it tries to support his argument, then dismisses it if it ranks a team highly that he doesn't like.
The Chargers defense though is
it's
their
like
run defense was so bad early that started to shore up that it's still being skewed incorrectly, and out of the bye they get their starting linebacker back.
And DVOA is a tough thing to judge week to week to week because it's almost like war in baseball. It's a counting stat. So it takes into consideration things that happen when teams aren't necessarily the teams that they are right now.
Chiefs in a rout.
Okay. SUPERLOCKS.
Chiefs haven't covered at home once this year.
Really?
No, that's a lie. They were lucky to cover versus the Eagles.
We both had the Eagles.
And they covered against the Skins.
Yeah, they covered against the Skins.
On that last second thing.
They're lucky. They're not.
They're lucky.
I forgot some keywords in that Kansas City ATS breakdown.
So Denver, Kansas City for Tim, and the coin is taking Denver as well. Let's get to the SUPERLOCKS. Tim, you were a loser last week, unlike me, and Geoff, you also lost. I'm now up to 5-2 in SUPERLOCKS. Geoff, you're 2-5. Tim, you're 4-3, looking to stay above 500. Where are you going with your SUPERLOCK?
We're gonna take the Monday nighter, lay the 7 with KC.
KC -7. Wow. Where are you going?
If I was getting the full 3 in Detroit, it would be Detroit, but I'm not, so I'm going to take the Chargers.
I was really giving the Chargers +7 some very strong
I could use your
too.
SUPERLOCK mojo. I would rather you take them then. I'll pick a different game.
I'm actually going to take Carolina +2. I think Carolina routs Tampa Bay.
Ooh.
But Tim hates Cam, so he can't win. All right, so Tim, you're now to 1-6 on your free money picks of the year. That is up to 1 in 107 lifetime. But you've never felt better about a teaser than this 7-point teaser, so give it to us again.
Minnesota -2.5. New England pick. New Orleans -2. Kansas City pick. I love it.
So which team this week? We were pretty good last week of saying which team, even the last 3 weeks.
Oh, you can't make me pick because I know which one's going to lose it for him.
The Chargers?
I hope.
The Chargers to beat New England?
Because he acknowledged that he thinks New England wins on a last-second Gostkowski field goal.
but won't tease the Chargers up.
No, because the Patriots just don't lose. I can't help it.
And he also picked Houston to win on the money line, but won't tease them up.
Because even though I picked it, I have no confidence in that pick.
No, I get that more than the Charger thing because he thinks that game could get away. It's Seattle at home. Sometimes if it goes wrong, it can go ugly.
I'm starting to get bad vibes about New Orleans.
Oh, there's no way I lose that part of it.
There it is.
Well, he loves them all. Like this was the easiest teaser he's ever made.
Maybe he can win one. Maybe he can get back up to 30% for the year or 25% for the year.
Twitter is just a wasteland.
All right, so yeah, let's do a quick check-in here. So Tim's list, here's what the real-time reactions is. Raisins, get the fuck out, is one of them. Andrew CUST ranks are more predictable and worthless than when Jay Cutler lines up at wide receiver in a Wildcat set. Does Tim know any stores sell candy besides Dollar General? I pray for the children that get candy from Tim's house. Raisins, at least Reese's made the list. This person says, Twix not being... I'm reading the comments here. Twix not being... Shut up! Twix not being on there is a crime. Didn't know raisins were candy, Tim, in your candy rankings. Raisins, Peeps, molasses, above Reese's? This list is DFL. This person says, my family has candy corn for dessert every night. I think that's a sarcastic comment. Raisins, not candy, not a man of the people.
You won't be a man of the people if you give the kids raisins.
I feel
That's how the community turns on people.
I feel like Tim was born a 75-year-old man. My grandpa would have a very similar list.
That's what I said.
Raisins are healthy.
Tim, how come individually wrapped black jubes isn't on your list?
I've never gotten one of those.
Because I don't think they exist.
Obviously, if black licorice were available...
Yeah, mini black Twizzlers.
Yeah, those would slide in right underneath of candy corn and, of course, those delicious candy pumpkins.
You're disgusting.
Of course, black licorice is the best licorice. That's
the people on this comment thread tend to agree that Tim is nuts. Like, it's not even close.
Okay, good.
Garion said that I am the human equivalent of getting a box of raisins for Halloween.
Oh man, that list is so bad.
It is the best list, and
like I wouldn't even egg your house. Might try to light your house on fire if you gave out this shit at the door.
And it would burn quickly because candy corn is quite flammable.
Is it? How do you know that?
I assume so. It's made with wax and honey, so I assume those things burn.
Dave from the Tour Junkies just says, "Peeps, gag a maggot."
But then he also says he likes candy corn, so don't discount some of the positive things.
This guy just sent a meme of how to eat candy corn and says, "Throw it in the trash." This list is just...
Someone asked me if I liked those marshmallow peanuts. Those are excellent. Even though I don't have it on the list, they're good.
He's crazy. I don't want to listen to this guy.
All right, Geoff's out of here. You can follow him on Twitter at gfienberg17. You can follow me at the PME. And, of course, if you'd like to send your hate to him, follow Tim on Twitter at TimAnderCust.
TimAnderCust.
That is not my name.
He's really lost the support of everybody with the dipping thing and this list. Like, even his supporters he's losing, I would think.
He's now trending in basically the wrong direction here.
Yeah.
All right, if you are at Gillette Stadium and you're showing up early, come by the Pat Mayo Experience set, 10:30 a.m. Sunday at the game. I'll be there. You can yell at Tim in person about his terrible list. It'd be pretty funny. If not, go to the Draftkings Facebook page, Facebook Live. You can find us up there if you want to watch it. It won't be up in podcast version because I won't have time to upload it. All right, you can check out the cheat sheet on facebook.com/thepme. Check out all my work up on the Draftkings YouTube page and iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Audio Boom for all the audio podcast versions. All right, good luck in Week 8. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.